The sun set gently over the little town of Elmridge, casting long amber shadows across the white steepled church at the end of Willow Lane. The bell had just rung an hour before, echoing off the maple trees and dirt roads, as it always did on a Sunday morning. But today it carried a different kind of ring, one that made little hearts beat faster. Sophie, 12 years old, with a face like soft poetry, sat in the back pew beside her mother. She listened as Pastor James spoke. Next Friday, our church will host a royal banquet for the youth. It will be a night of honor, a feast at the king's table. Each child will have a name card, a chair, and a place. Sophie's heart stirred. A place just for her? She looked down at her shoes, scuffed at the toes, and wondered what it would be like to be chosen like that. Not just invited, but expected. The week passed slowly, like honey dripping from a spoon. Each day, Sophie helped her mother prepare, ironing dresses, brushing the dust off shoes, folding napkins. Her dress was pale lavender, a hand-me-down from her cousin, with a little rose stitched near the hem. Her mother washed it gently, steamed it, and hung it in the sunlight. Sophie would pass it in the hallway every day and feel her little heart rise. The night before the banquet, she knelt by her bed and whispered a prayer. Jesus, if you want me there, please help them remember my name. She said it with no resentment, no drama, just hope, a quiet hope, the kind that doesn't make a sound but echoes in heaven. The fellowship hall no longer looked like a place for potlucks and Sunday coffee. It had been transformed. Golden fairy lights hung like stars. Tables were draped in white linens. The smell of roasted chicken, sweet rolls, and warm apple cider floated through the air like incense. A violinist played softly in the corner. Everything shimmered with purpose. Sophie stepped inside and paused at the door. It felt like she was entering a kingdom. Kids buzzed with excitement, weaving through chairs, giggling and pointing. Sophie walked slowly along the banquet table, scanning for her name. Sarah, Audrey, Kristen, Ethan. She smiled when she recognized friends, but her eyes kept moving. Grace, Olivia, Zachary. Her pace slowed. Her breath grew shorter. Once down the row, twice, 3 times. No Sophie. Her hands trembled as she approached Pastor James, who was busy directing servers. "Excuse me, I can't seem to find my seat." He looked up, distracted, scanned the list. That's strange. Maybe an oversight. There should be a few empty seats. Just find one at the end." He smiled and patted her shoulder. She nodded, turned, and walked away. She didn't cry, but something inside her curled up. She found a quiet corner behind a tall fern and sat down on a bench. The music played on, laughter rose like birdsong, but to Sophie it all faded. And then the air changed. The doors creaked again, though no one noticed. A man stepped in, modestly dressed in a cream linen tunic and brown sandals, hair dark, eyes full of mercy. He walked past the crowds with purpose. When he reached Sophie, he spoke softly. "You must be Sophie." She blinked. "How did you know my name?" "Because I wrote it before the banquet was ever planned." He offered his hand. "I've prepared a place, not just for you, but with you." She rose, confused, and followed him. He didn't lead her to the long banquet table with its crowd and laughter. He walked to a small round table near the window, where the moonlight spilled through like heaven's own spotlight. 2 chairs, 2 plates, 2 glasses, and a single candle between them. On the plate in front of one chair sat a card. In handwritten gold letters it read, "My beloved." Sophie gasped. "This is for me?" The man, Jesus, smiled. "When others forgot your name, I whispered it into the stars. When they didn't see you, I was watching all along." She sat. Tears welled, not of sadness, but of being known. For the first time in her life, she wasn't trying to fit in. She belonged. They ate together. They laughed. They talked about her favorite books, the questions she'd always wanted to ask God, and the feeling of being small in a world that moves so fast. At the end of the meal, Jesus stood and gently touched her shoulder. "Remember this moment, Sophie, when the world forgets you again, and it will. Remember the table. You always have a seat with me." So I love this story because it's so true. The world may forget your name. The crowd may miss your presence, but the King has already written your place card in gold. And he doesn't count the loudest. He listens for the quiet hearts. And when all the seats seem taken, he sets one aside just for you. Amen. God bless you, my friends.